Hi, I'm Jefferson,
I'm Gregory.
and this is the
Game
Master's Corner. Roll intro. In the land of Sanathia, far from the capital, to the west and to the south, there exists the ancient city of World's End. There, in the Merchant's Corner, one may find a tavern known as the Inside Straight. Rollo Stillwater, the tavern keep, a jovial halfling, keeps a table reserved for a most mysterious group, the Game Masters. For it is to this place that they come to discuss the secrets of their arcane craft. This is the Game Master's Corner. Before we get into anything else, we should explain who the heck we are. What's your background and what's this mean to you?
So, as we said, my name's Gregory, and I've been playing RPGs for tabletop and video games for about 5 years now, and I am kind of very into the world building scene, and I'm an aspiring game master, but I don't really know where to start, so it helps to have somebody to ask questions to.
And I'm Jefferson, and I am a game master. I've been a dungeon master, game master, whatever you want to call it, for decades. Full disclosure, it's not like I was running 2 games a week for decades. Life happened, children, things like that. But it's something that's been a part of my life since I was 9 years old. More recently, I decided to figure out the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. And I've had a campaign going now in a world I've created for just about 2 years now. And been pretty successful. So what we'd like to do is ask and answer the kind of questions that somebody who is a game master or would like to be a game master might have. To that end, the way this would work, I suspect, is Gregory will ask me questions. I will answer them. When I start rambling, he will correct course and make sure I'm actually answering the question asked, not whatever's in my head.
Yeah, that is the goal.
In the future, we would love to answer questions from any of y'all out there in wherever you're at, to answer your questions directly too. So feel free to drop any questions you want in the comments, and we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
So,
to that end, I guess we should start with the first question, and that would be, what makes a good BBEG, or big bad evil guy, as it were, in a campaign?
Well, let's just say big bad. BBEG is really convenient when typing. It really doesn't roll out of the mouth. Big bad. So what you want from a big bad are 2 things that are important. The first one is the obvious one. They need to be a suitable challenge for the players. They need to be something that is hard to kill.
Yeah.
But that's the smallest part. The more important part, the more interesting part, is making it something that they want to kill. I mean, not just because it's a monster and they're an adventurer, because it's hurt their feelings. You need an emotional attachment to it. So that's going to set up a couple of things. It means you don't go through the whole arc and then surprise, big bad just shows up. You need to know about him. You need to be aware of him or her. And you need to really, really dislike him. And you can do this a couple of different ways. You can have the big bad show up, create problems, and then get away and leave the players to do mechanisms of gameplay. Come in, find them, and vanquish them. Or you can leave evidence of what this individual has done. You keep coming across the carnage or the aftermath of its things so that you are so ready to rid the world of this problem that you want to kill it. It's personal. It hurt your feelings and you want to make it dead.
Yeah.
So
how would you go about making a villain that is truly heinous? What kind of actions should they take? Who should they be?
Some of this you can just know from human nature.
Yeah.
But you can tune it to your players and know what their particular, not to your players, to your characters, and know what the characters' triggers are. Please don't trigger your players.
No.
But you can trigger the characters. So if you've got a character who's an orphan, well, if you've got a big bad who's going around making new orphans all the time, that's something that would be upsetting.
Of course.
You also want them to be a level appropriate threat. Okay, meaning that if you're lower level, they're terrorizing the town. If you're higher level, they're terrorizing the nation.
Yes.
But you want an external reason to match the internal. I'm going to kill them because I hate them, because of what they've done to me. Also, I think I'm going to get a nice reward if I do this, or I'll make the villagers so happy, or whatever. You want to give multiple motivations, but to make it satisfying, it's got to be personal. Because once upon a time, low-level players, we had an arc, and I needed something at the end of it, so stone giant. And they killed it, and it was good, but nobody cared. The situation lacked emotional resonance.
You lack the stakes, so
right.
It's flat.
You killed it. How much XP did I get? You move on with your life, and you don't care.
Yeah. Then we don't think about it or talk about it again later.
Right. I want you to care.
Yeah.
So one way to do this is to, like I said, seed him along so that you keep encountering him. He shows up. He taunts you. He kicks your puppy. He's not nice. And while you're creating and designing this, you're not going to know. So you sort of do a shotgun approach. You throw this out and throw that out and see what the players respond to.
Yeah.
Once you found out what hooks them, you lean into that element more. You also need... Killing him is going to feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we play games, right? We can't go around killing people that irritate us. That's frowned upon.
Yes.
But within the game, that's exactly what we can do.
Yeah.
And so that's satisfying, but you also want an in-story reason why it's satisfying. So it's the internal and the external. The internal says, okay, this is going to be... This person irritates me, this vampire, this lich, this goblin, whatever. And I want it dead. But also, now the people are grateful to you. Or now there's a big reward. Or now, whatever it is your particular party's motivation in things is advanced by doing this. so it, like a lot of things, it's about engagement.
Yeah.
It's about making the players care, which I guess is a bigger point beyond your question.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Well, I have a question.
Okay, fantastic.
How would you go about taking a villain? How would you go about working in a villain that is malevolent to the players, does not care about the players, they aren't even on their radar? How do you go about making that satisfying?
All right, I gotta understand the question. So you want a bad guy who doesn't even consider the party a threat?
Yeah, say a vampire, uncaring, unfeeling.
Okay, so he's okay. So it's not like he's trying to antagonize your party, and it doesn't have to be a direct antagonism. You know, if all of the young people, young adults, and teenagers from the village keep vanishing and then showing up as vampire spawns later, that could hurt your feelings. You know, he's ruining these people's lives, and what do we do? You know, again, that's matching it to what the players want to see or what they need to feel engaged, and that's tricky because what we're really doing when we play these games, is not what you think you're doing. You think you're out killing monsters and doing great things. What you're doing is sitting around a table, rolling dice, doing math, and then having the DM declare success, failure, hit, miss. And to not be thinking about dice and math and success and failure, and to be thinking about the story, as it were, you've got to get the players engaged as their characters, which is a challenge that you face consistently as a dungeon master.
Yeah, I've seen that at the table too.
Me too. So we have a player at our table who their character bought a puppy dog.
Yeah.
Which follows her around everywhere, into dungeons, into everything. It's really poor decision making, but whatever.
But it's cute.
But I know if I want to get her attention, I threaten the puppy. It works every time. Yeah. And that's not cheating, that's helping.
Yes.
That's bringing her into the game.
Yeah.
She is now concerned and angry and a little mad at me for picking on her make-believe puppy dog.
Yes.
If we're doing that, we're doing it right. And so it's getting the players to forget about the game and react honestly. And like I said, so there's no one answer for how you do this.
Yes.
If there was, I'd just make a list and hand it to you.
Yeah.
What you do have is a
making a set of numbers feel like it's an actual person or a thing.
Right. And you do this through the role playing, but also by strategically making it clear that this entity is making things go poorly for you personally and for the situationally.
Yes.
The town is falling to pieces.
So now I get
it. Keeps showing up, taunting us, and then disappearing. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
When it's time to close the arc, because some big bads will keep turning up like a bad penny. Yes. That's how we make it personal. But when it is time to be done with them, we also have to make sure that they're killable.
Yes.
Or beatable, or it's winnable. But not easy.
Yeah.
There should always be a chance of player death. Yeah. Character death. Never player death. Never, ever player death. Character death. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Forgive me. So, if they don't have the right tools, make sure that finding those tools is part of the quest.
Yes.
If they don't have the right skills, make sure that finding the NPC with the right skills is something they can
part of that
do.
quest. Yeah.
And then make sure that there is an NPC available at any given moment to wave them off if they're not ready.
Yeah. Though let them ignore the signs if they want to, I would say. I mean,
they do, which is why this is why you might think, okay, I just need this one dude to warn him you can't do this unless you have the magic witchy, and then that's how you're going to defeat him. You have to assume that somebody in the party is going to go, we don't need that, and barrel on forwards. So you need multiple obstructions to beat it into their brains that maybe they should go find the magical witchy thing and get it before they take on this big bad individual.
Every table obviously would vary, but some are worse about this than others.
Yes. Although in looking at forums online and places where game masters talk about these things, I think it's probably more universal than I'd like to believe. I'd like to think it's just my special players that need this kind of help. But I think in reality it's something that comes up over and over again because it's hard to take it.
It's hard to coach without railroading.
Well, not only that, but as a player, and it's hard sometimes as a game master to have empathy for the players because I've got all of these notes I got to be looking at, ready for whatever weird things you guys are going to come up with, and I've got this thing here and that thing there I'm trying to manage all at the same time, and it's very hard, very hard. But as a player, you've got some of the same problems. You got to know which spells or which feats or which weapons you have available to you. You got to know when you could use them strategically. And you're thinking about all of these things so that you can play the best game that you can. And to break you out of that, that emotional connection matters.
Yes.
If all else fails, and they just don't care about the big bad, they're just nonchalant about it. It's not personal. Kill the NPC they like the most.
Yeah.
Let him murder that person, and then it becomes personal. And if it's personal, then it's more satisfying to win.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of mechanics and what you should do and how to balance and challenge levels and all that shit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If it's not personal, if it's not emotional.
Yeah. And am I fair in saying that if they are not connecting with a certain bad guy early enough that you should just drop that? Is that a valid thing that you can do and put on another plot thread, since you said doing a shotgun method?
So yes, but it's not just plot threads. When I do shotgun method, I'm not throwing a whole bunch of plots at them.
Yeah.
If I need them to know that entering this building will result in death if they don't have the shining orb of orbiness.
Yes.
I need to find like 15 different ways to tell them that.
Yeah. I
need to make sure that there are NPCs all over the place who happen to have that nugget of information. You need to do it over and over again, because if I'm thinking about how many spell slots I have left and whether or not I can use this spell to do this thing that's not really the way it's designed to do, but it looks like it might work in the rules. And I drop a little, oh, you don't want to go in there, my young adventurers. That place is dangerous. Everyone who enters dies. They're like, yeah, whatever. So then it's like, as you go to open the door, that little orphan that you liked runs up. No, don't do it. You need lots and lots and lots and lots of warnings and signs to help make sure that it's reinforced and that it's penetrated into their mind as they're thinking about the scenario. And that's the way it is with a lot of things. Now, they didn't get the orb. They go in anyway. Do I just kill them all? Could. Or I could say, okay, this isn't working out the way I want. This is not the confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
He's left a note behind, taunting them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing in the house at all. And the encounter I designed is still good. It just is going to be moved to someplace else when the players are ready. And a lot of that kind of flexibility goes a long way, but that's probably the subject of a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what it comes down to is you need to make him hard to kill, but possible.
Yeah.
There has to be a chance of player death, always.
Character death.
God, I said it again.
It's all good. Old habits die hard.
I promise, I never ever have attempted to murder one of my players, no matter how much they begged for it. Chance for character death. And then you've got to make it matter. Yeah. And that emotional connection is the best way I know to make it matter. Because you can set up the whole thing, they're a scourge on the land or whatever, and it's so easy for a player just to barrel through that and say, okay, cool, then I kill this guy and then we can move on. No. Yeah. This is a moment. And so making it personal, testing it out with the players to see what works. And if you've got a long running group, that's easy. You start to know their hooks. But even with a fresh group, you can try this, try that, and see what works and what works with whom. Yeah. And let it play out. It's never going to go, ever, not once, the way that you think it will. But if you've got the right pieces in play, it will resolve the way that it should, even if it's not how you thought it would.
Yes.
So I think that's my answer for that.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. So I think that about does it for us for this time. So
I just have to say, like and subscribe if you feel you'd like to see more of our content, and always feel free to comment, because that's how we know what you guys want to hear. And as always,
be kind to one another. We'll see you soon.